Hey YouTube, Rook here from Rook Geek Goodness, my little channel web for all things geeky and cool, and welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to another action figure breakdown video. In this video, we're taking a look at this bad boy right here, the DC Multiverse Gold Label Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner figure. Yes, it's a lot of words, took many takes to say it correctly. This is a 7-inch action figure. We'll do a full breakdown segment of this particular figure. It is exclusive to the Mcfarlane toy store. That's the only way you can get this particular figure, or if you get it through a secondary market, you might be able to get it that way. In our breakdown video, it consists of several parts. We'll be looking at the packaging, the paint, the articulation. At the end of the video, the most important part of the video, asking the big question, is this figure worth your money? So stick around, guys. Come back to the table with me in my breakdown segment, and see you soon. And welcome back, everyone. We're in a breakdown segment. We'll take a deep dive of a particular action figure or collectible. Of course, we're talking about the DC Multiverse Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner figure sporting the all-sexy, all-important gold label right here. I hope you guys can help me out by smashing the like button and subscribe. One little click from you means a heck of a lot to me. So the very first thing we do in a breakdown segment, we look at the packaging and presentation. Let's take a deep dive into Kyle Rayner right now. At the top here, we have the 22 points of articulation, Mcfarlane Toys symbol right here, the all-important, that sexy gold label. What does this mean, Rook? This gold label means this particular figure, this character here, was exclusive to either a brick and mortar location or online retailer. I got Kyle here from the Mcfarlane toy store. I spent, I think it was $25 plus tax and shipping. All in, I think it was $35 US. You could have went to maybe your Amazons, your eBays, your big bad toy stores to get them as well. They sell other gold label figures at, let's say, Target and Walmart as well. So keep your eyes open for your particular figures. If you're looking for a particular character, go to those particular stores to find those figures. Continuing the breakdown segment, we have really cool accessories here. You see Kyle right there in the middle. These have been repurposed, redecoed from the Parallax Hal Jordan figure, which was another gold label figure as well. They've just been kind of changed the color a little bit from a, let's say, a green kind of see-through transparent to a blue light transparent color. It's the same identical fist constructs and power battery. Down here you have the DC Multiverse symbol, the logo, and you have, of course, Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner. On this side we have the Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner, part of the War of Green Lantern storyline that happened. Over here, just again, does say Kyle Rayner, Blue Lantern. And back here is they basically lifted the artwork from the War of the Green Lantern storyline. And I don't want to go into a full detail about that particular storyline. The only thing you really need to take away from that one, it was written by Jeff Johns at the height of the Green Lantern story mythos, if you will. And at the end of the day, Kyle Rayner came away with a Blue Lantern power ring. That's all you need to take away from right now. It's a really detailed and deep storyline. If you've never read it before, I highly recommend reading it. It comes after the Sinestro Corps War of Green Lanterns is a really cool storyline. I highly recommend reading it because all the other Earthbound Lanterns had rings as well, which were not Green Lantern rings. You had, of course, Hal Jordan with the yellow ring, Kyle with a blue ring. I believe Guy Gardner had a red ring. John Stewart had, I think, the Star Sapphire ring. So it was really cool to see lanterns with different colored rings. Highly recommend the storyline. If you've never read it before, I highly recommend it. With that being said, guys, let's get the DC Multiverse Kyle Rayner Blue Lantern figure out of packaging to the breakdown segment. A quick correction before I go any further with the breakdown segment of the Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner here. I talked about John Stewart getting a power ring, rather a Star Sapphire power ring. That is incorrect. He actually received the Indigo Tribe's power staff. I just want to let everyone know about that. I picked that up in my editing process. Now on to the breakdown segment with Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner here. Alright guys, we have our Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner figure out of packaging. Next thing we do, take a figure out of packaging in our breakdown segment. We normally look at the paint, the articulation, and the accessories. But I want to pause real quick, just for a moment, and let everyone know, basically talk about the big elephant in the room. And this figure you see right here is basically just a redeco. It's a repaint sculpt of another figure that came out, which was the Blackest Night version of Kyle Rayner, which is this one right here. All the issues that were very apparent and transparent with this figure is inherited by proxy to this figure. I want to let everyone know that now. The issues I had with this figure are also with this figure. So I want to break that down, let everyone know right out the gate. Again, full transparency, there are issues with this figure. So let's talk about the figure as a whole and really break down this Blue Lantern figure. First, let's talk about that head sculpt. I talked about it ad nauseum, that I like the idea, I like the paint, but I don't like that smirk. The smirk really takes you away from the figure. It looks silly. It looks really stupid. And of course, this Kyle Rayner here has the same stupid smirk. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. The color itself looks really good. I like the blue tone through the entire figure and the black bodysuit. That, of course, anywhere you had the green, the kind of the lime green color has been taken away and made the blue color. They also swapped and gave him the Blue Lantern Corps symbol right here. Now there is no paint app right here, while Kyle here, the green one, had the little paint app on his belly. It is not present on this figure, and anywhere you had green, for example, on the hands and the feet, have been replaced by blue. The other big issue, which I talked about at length, and then again ad nauseum, is the suit itself. The suit is textured. Why is the suit textured? I don't know. A lot of figures from the Blackest Night wave kind of have this exact problem across them. Even the Collect and Connect figure of Atrocitus is suffering from this textured look. Why did not make it a skin-tight bodysuit? I don't know. Giving this kind of rigid feel to it is weird. It just doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel like a skin-tight bodysuit or a leotard. It feels wrong to me. But they did it with that figure, with the Blackest Night figure, and they did it with this one as well. Again, those are the biggest problems I have with the figure, next to the accessories, which we'll talk about that shortly. Let's break down the articulation now, because there is a lot of articulation. There's a lot of good with this figure as well, but there's also a lot of bad. So let's spin the head around 360. Great articulation on the head. The arms can go out to a big T here. A lot of movement here. There are this really cool, rather supports this really cool butterfly hinge joint. You can see me moving it here back and forth. You'll see the hinge joint moving. It sort of hides the crime of the shoulder into this kind of open ball joint. You'll see it open up right there. The Blackest Night figure suffers from that same issue as well. Just be aware of that. If you move the arms too far forward, it might be showing this little gap. Just be aware of that. There is a bit of a difference on the paint sculpt here on the back of the suit. The Green Lantern one doesn't have it. They have a triangle on the blue one and sort of this little rectangle cutoff at the bottom. Just again, they made a little kind of little touches, little tweaks to the color. So I do like that. Further articulation, the arms will spin 360. There are double jointed elbows here, which I do like that. You can swivel it here at the shoulder, and the bicep cut can swivel as well. So you got a large amount of articulation here. So I do like the range of motion. The range of motion from Mcfarlane toys are usually really, really good. This one I think spouted 22 points of articulation, a lot of articulation. Hand will spin 360, and there is a ball joint, so you have a lot of articulation there. I do like that. Going to the chest, you can get a good ab crunch forward and back. He can spin 360 here with no hindrance. There is no rubber band in the middle of the torso, which I do like that as well. Moving further down to the legs of the figure, you can get a decent kick, about that far forward, about that far back. But the real cool thing here is again, the legs will spin 360. Just don't be careful you don't spin the leg off the ball joint. You can do that. All Mcfarlane toys figures you are suffering from that particular problem. If you spin it, maybe pull, you might be able to rip the leg right off. Be wary, be very careful of that. There is a double jointed knee, which you see right here. It is pinned, so I do like the amount of articulation. You can get the leg really far back if you want to, so great range of motion right there. Again, the Blackest Night figure does the same thing. The the lower shin itself is not articulated. This does not have any movement, but there's a ton of movement on the foot, spinning up and down. There is a boot cut, which you don't see a lot of figures with boot cuts, so I do like that. There is, again, a lot of range of motion with this particular figure, which again was inherited by the other Green Lantern figure, so I do in fact really, really like that. I think your main range of motion is really, really good with this figure. Now let's talk about the accessories. Accessories are my next bone of contention, because really what they did here is just reuse parts again. They just changed the color of them from one figure to the other. You get some really cool energy effects. You get these hand effects here, which look really good. There's this light blue color to basically match the figure itself. But these also come from the Parallax figure, which was a Walmart exclusive. These are the same identical energy effects as the blue ones here. So I'll hold them up so you can see them side by side. These again are the same energy effects. There's no difference between the two. So just repurposed parts again. Also, with that being said, they gave us the power batteries. These again have been repurposed. This was the Parallax one. This is the one that comes with Kyle. They even got so cheap as to even give us the same symbol at the top. They didn't even have the common courtesy to change it to a Blue Lantern Corps symbol. Why? Because they wanted to save money and be cheap. That's what happened here, guys. I'm just being honest. I'm telling you exactly what I see. I have to tell my audience exactly what I see in front of me, and that's what I see here. They just repurposed this, changed the color, and didn't even bother to remold it. So again, this is the Green Lantern symbol, which it shouldn't even be on this one here, because when Hal Jordan Parallax was no longer part of the Green Lantern Corps, it shouldn't even have this Green Lantern symbol. But again, they just repurposed it from this one right here, so be aware of that. He does come with a figure stand, which is again a single point figure stand. All Mcfarlane toys sports a single point figure stand. I've talked about it in the past. It should be 2 points, but they only give you 1. And the last accessory here is this tech card. This comes from art lifted from the Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner here from the War of Green Lantern storylines. I'll turn it over to the back here. A lot of people will read you the entire bio here. I'm not going to. I'm going to let you pause it. You can read it for yourself. They talk about all the characters and what rings they got from the War of the Lanterns storyline. And of course, as I mentioned before, that the character John Stewart didn't get the Star Sapphire ring. He got the Indigo Tribe Power Staff. So again, beware of that. Let's put his energy effects on so you can see what they look like. Again, I think they look really cool. This did come from the Parallax figure, so it's not an exact fit. It's not a perfect fit, unfortunately, so just be aware of that. So again, Parallax's figure itself had much thicker gloved hands. I don't even think they repurposed the inside drilling of it, so it might not fit exactly perfect compared to the other figure itself. So, I mean, it is what it is. It looks okay. He does have his ring on his hand, but it is just a blob of paint. So that's kind of what it would look like with his energy effects on his hands. Alright guys, final thoughts on the Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner figure. I don't think I would ever say these words be coming out of my mouth. Don't buy this figure. I know it's very, very weird, me being a Green Lantern fan, telling you not to buy a Green Lantern based figure, especially Kyle Rayner, which is my boy. Don't buy this figure. If you wanted to buy a figure, you could have bought the Blackest Night one. If you wanted to collect a Connect for Atrocitus, then yeah, I can see why you buy this one. Skip this figure. If you want to get another Kyle Rayner figure, which is not these two, I haven't opened it, reviewed it. This is the gold label version, which is a Target exclusive version of Kyle Rayner. A much better figure. It's called Changing of the Guard, or Changing the Guard. It has the sort of the same issues I found with the skin tight suit, but again, it is textured just like the other two that we were talking about, but he has a much better face sculpt. Way, way better. He doesn't have that stupid grin. Buy this figure over the Blue Lantern one. As I mentioned before, the same problems that were inherited with this figure, with the Blackest Night figure, are just, again, by proxy inherited to the Blue Lantern one. Don't buy this figure. Skip it. Let me spend my money so you don't have to. Again, I want everyone to know about it. And again, the reasons why. We have to just, again, touch the high points of it. It has a really stupid face sculpt. I don't like the little grin. It looks weird. The skin-tight leotard is not skin-tight. It is textured. Why they textured it, I don't know. They repurposed the energy effects from the Parallax Walmart exclusive version of the figure that have a little bit of trouble sticking on his hands, but if you kind of situate them enough, you can get them to fit okay. He does have the power battery, but the power battery is the same power battery of Parallax, and it doesn't have the Blue Lantern symbol on top. It has the Green Lantern symbol. Again, these are just small little nitpicks, but these little nitpicks add up to really take you away from the experience of enjoying this figure, especially if you're a fan of Kyle Rayner and the Blue Lantern Corps. It just takes you out of the entire experience. This is definitely a pass. Buy this figure here. If you want to buy a figure, buy the Changing the Guard figure from the Target Walmart exclusive, rather the Target exclusive figure. Buy this one over this one 100%. You'll much like the purchase better. Again, I didn't like the results of the figure. They were inherited. Again, buy this figure. Definitely a pass on that figure. So I do hope you understand my review of the Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner figure. Remember to click the like button on the page. Click that like button. It helps the video. Click subscribe with a picture of my face. When you subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon to know the latest videos. And of course, last but not least, click Windows and here to watch more of my content. Take care, guys. See you next video. And bye-bye.